I think it's funny to send people to Easter Island Head like stonewalled. It's like, hey man, I don't give a fuck about what you just said me, basically.
Seen that this morning.
Nostalgia does kind of sound like a country. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bordering China and Mongolia's secret country, nostalgia.
Yeah, and that's where we're going today.
We are going to the country of nostalgia where we mingle with the Mongols and we get a bit pesty with the past. Welcome back to the 3 Cents Podcast.
Yeah.
Welcome. Today we're talking about nostalgia, how fun, back in the past, stuff like that.
Yep.
We all set a task to go back and watch some of our childhood movies and figure out, is nostalgia real? What's the deal with nostalgia?
Yeah, I guess the question is whether or not like your concept or memory of that moment shrouds any actual judgment of quality.
It's like the rose-tinted glasses sort of perception of the past.
Exactly. Where does that expression come from?
Rose-tinted glasses?
Yeah.
It's like when you're wearing rose-tinted glasses and stuff looks cool.
Oh, true. Actually, yeah, that makes way more sense.
That's where it comes
pretty,
from.
yeah, it's pretty literal. It's from that Logan Paul video where he wore all those glasses.
Yeah, I know that one.
Maverick, what?
Oh my god.
Oh,
my bird isn't just yellow?
Is that where he pretended he was colorblind?
Yeah.
Okay, I have heard of that video. He pretends he's colorblind and then wears glasses.
Rose-tinted glasses.
reverse
Funny
it.
that. That's crazy.
Okay.
That was like 10 years ago, bro.
Yeah, I know. Deep cut.
Yeah.
Low gang for life. Big up. Any of
Yeah.
my low gangers in the chat?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
gangsters.
So do you guys have like a movie that like you think is like really bad but you love it and you think it's
Yeah.
because when you were a kid?
Yeah, and I tried to rewatch it and it was painful.
How'd you go? What is it?
Open Season.
Ah.
You guys remember Open Season?
Yes. I love I love the meme of one of my favorite memes is the one with the two guys who are up against the glass like that.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Is the bear called Boog?
Yeah.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Boog.
It was bad.
Ashton Kutcher.
Aston Kutcher was probably the best part of it.
Okay.
And that's saying a lot.
Damn.
It was just like I was watching it and I was so perplexed at how good the fur animation was on all the creatures and how bad the rest of the animation was.
Were you high? Like
No,
what
it was such a weird juxtaposition. The
Watching-
bear was so like perfectly fur
Really?
animated.
watching
so
Open
dynamic.
Season being like, fuck, this bear is so
The
furry.
fur is so good.
But then
Why
I'm
would
like,
they do that?
I'll be honest, I did not get very far through Open Season. I did turn it off.
You didn't even
Okay.
watch the whole thing.
Didn't watch the whole thing
But
because I didn't want to taint my memory. I was watching. I'm like, I'm not gonna like this.
Fuck, I kind of want to watch it now. I'm thinking about Open Season. It's like, man, that was a good movie.
I'm thinking about it,
You're
but
saying it's not.
It's got its charms, but it's very much a kids movie.
I'm also thinking can't think of anything that happens in it.
Me neither, but I remember the vibes being nice.
I remember watching it and
vibes
being like, yeah, this
are
is
nice.
good.
That's the problem. It's only like vibes.
There's a bit with
It's the same as the A24 films. A24 films and Open Season. They have
Open
one
Season
major
walked
issue.
so A24 could
They
run.
should do an A24 remake of Open Season, but it's live
Dude,
action.
that'd be horrifying.
Real bear.
No, it's swapped. All the people are animals and all the animals are people.
True.
So did
Very
you like
cool.
what about it specifically was bad?
It was just not funny. And like, I realized it was very of its time. And a lot of I just wasn't enjoying it. And then I don't want to bring up what I ended up doing because I want to save that for a bit later in the episode. But
Yeah.
I went on a much different deep dive
Okay.
after that. Because I was watching this and I was like kind of getting upset the fact I wasn't enjoying it. And I was like, I'm kind of curious about this whole nostalgia thing. So I went on a bit of a scientific deep dive that I'll get into a bit later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what about you, John? What did you end up watching?
So I watched two films. The one I wanted to talk about, I started by watching Monsters, Inc.
Lovely.
Banger.
It wasn't a massive movie in my childhood, but it was one I definitely watched and hadn't seen since. So I was like, yeah, I'll watch that, see how it is. And it was just a good movie.
Yeah, it's
Like
just,
it was,
it's just good.
yeah, it was good. It wasn't like hilarious. Because there's some old movies you watch and go, this shit's so fun. Like this is even funnier than.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like that. But it was more like, I don't know, I just wanted to cry every time Boo was on screen.
Oh.
Aw.
So it was just like, I don't know, good movie. And then, so instead I was like, all right, watch that. Nothing really. Yeah, good movie. Cool.
No emotional response to the nostalgic nature of it.
Nah.
When did it come out?
01.
Oh, okay. So properly. Oh, that's a lot older than I thought.
Yeah.
Was that
Yeah.
like their third movie then? Because
It
what,
must
Toy
have been.
Story came out in like 96?
97, 96, yeah.
Toy Story 1 was 94, wasn't it? And then Toy Story 2 was
Whoa, that
96.
early?
Really?
Is that correct? I
Fuck.
could be lying.
Around there.
Around there. Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't realize Monsters, Inc. was Pixar so early. I thought it was
Yeah.
a bit later.
And
Yeah.
all of it
Anyway.
still looks so good.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
They
Looks really good.
Do you guys?
went in.
This is a bit of a tangent, but it'll be quick.
Yeah.
The new Pixar style, every one of them looks the same. Like the most recent 3, like Luca, and then the new one coming out, Elio. They look exactly the same.
Like is it Coco? as
and
well?
Coco as well. Like they're just the character design
Yeah.
is like
Here's-
is the exact same in all
Here's
of them.
my theory, though, is that like, I mean, all of the Pixar movies are the same animation style, but they have been making them not about people. Like they've been about
Yeah,
like
true.
Ratatouille was about rats, Cars was
But there
about
were
cars.
people in Ratatouille that looked like they had their distinct style. They look different.
They were French.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm confused.
No,
I think
but
Linguini was an American, no?
Well, they all spoke with American accents,
Oh,
but they
but
were
they
French.
Yeah.
Okay,
They all
sorry.
spoke English with American accents. It's easy to
Classic.
overlook, except the one chick. But
Then, like, the new ones, they all look this. I feel like there was a period of, like, peak Pixar was like Monsters Inc.,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wall-E.
Everything had a
like,
different
Toys.
style.
Everything had a different style. It all looked unique, and every single one was like innovating in some crazy, like, even when later on, like, The Good Dinosaur came out,
Yeah.
the water animation in that was fucking amazing. Like, every movie had like a step up in animation quality.
yeah,
Now I feel like the most recent ones,
So they've been pumping them out
like
more, maybe.
Onward,
Yeah.
not very
A lot of
good.
forgettable ones.
like Luca, not very good.
Yeah.
Like Coco was good, but that was kind of like the start of the end. I feel.
I've heard great things about Coco.
Coco was
I haven't seen a lot of them. I mean, Soul.
Soul I
Soul is
enjoyed.
great.
I really, yeah.
I think
would-
That one had a bit more like life to it. Than
Yeah.
I
the
think
others.
to me, I just like when it's animated, I mess with it more if it's like a creature.
Mhm.
Like to me, when it's like a person live action,
Turning
makes
Red.
sense.
It's another Pixar one I forgot about.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one, but at least in that one, like she turns into like a little fella.
I feel like if
Yeah.
you're going to do animation, you may as well go all out and animate things that you couldn't film live action. Like it's
Yeah.
impossible to. Except I guess nowadays you can film anything live action. They just made a fucking Lilo and Stitch live action movie.
They did, and I actually went and saw that last night.
Oh really?
Yeah, and I enjoyed it. I'm a big Lilo and Stitch fan. I'm not a big CGI remake fan,
And you enjoyed it?
but I enjoyed the first 2 acts of the movie.
Okay. I've heard
Yeah.
very bad things about it.
The third act kind of falls off, and it just like there's some things that they change that lose a bit of the charm. For example, like the Jumba and Pleakley, who are the aliens that come to get Stitch. They're on Earth for about 30 seconds, and then they just they're like, oh, we're going to use a human cloaking device, so we look like people now.
Oh.
So it's not
That's so
aliens chasing
lazy.
Stitch around; it's just Zach Galifianakis and Billy Magnuson chasing Stitch
Yeah.
around.
That's quite lazy. I feel like that was definitely a choice of like, we don't want to fucking animate these fellas.
Yeah, which I get that, but like it's also just
Why do a live action movie then?
Yeah.
well, yeah,
It's just them trying to print money. I'm so cynical of these live action remakes. There's
Yeah.
no soul to them at all. It is just genuinely a money printer. They're like, oh, we want more money. Let's just remake this movie that everyone loved in live
Yeah.
action. There's no like, no reason to do it. No like
Yeah.
good nature to it. It is genuinely a cynical like shit this out and get money for it. I see
I
no
agree.
positive impact of them.
the only
in
one
film.
that I kind of mess with is Mufasa, which is because they did the Lion King remake.
Was that the
and
one
then-
with the song that's like he repeats brother like 6
Yeah,
times that went viral on TikTok?
Brad, that's the one, and it's actually
You're about to tell me you like this.
it's an original story.
Okay.
It's original music. Like watching every live action remake so far is just like, yeah, well, I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
The characters just look a little different.
Yeah.
Whereas that was actually a new movie to experience.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, yeah, I
And
see
it
the
felt
the
justifiable.
validity in that.
Whether or not it's like a great movie, like there's a lot of other movies I'd rather watch, and I'd rather watch the original Lion King, but it's justifiable in its existence.
Okay. I can agree with that. I think I'm upset they're making How to Train Your Dragon live action.
That's ridiculous.
Me too.
And looking at it and they're like shot to shot remakes. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? This is just
Yeah.
whatever.
The
What's
dragons
point?
just looks exactly the same.
Yeah, what's the point? Most of the movie's animated anyway. You
And
just
it-
animated it in a
Even when the whole thing is like live
Yeah, I
action, the live action or like the whole point of it is like, I guess the one change is it looks more cinematic. But then it's like, I feel like all those examples, they look worse somehow. Like even kind of different, but if you look at like Last of Us games in the show now, and you do side-by-side comparisons of the same scene, the game looks so much more cinematic.
Yeah.
The acting's better. Everything's better. It's like, what's the point of making a show if you can't enhance?
I think there's a lot to be said for when you're remaking something with a lot of CGI as opposed to when it was originally animated.
Yeah.
When it's animation style originally, although it is kind of dated, it is timeless.
Yeah.
Like looking at How to Train Your Dragon, because it's animated like that, it has a style, it's timeless.
Yeah.
But now you're remaking it, trying to make it as realistic as possible. In 5 years' time, people are going to be like, oh, this CGI looks bad. There's a green screen shot here that looks shit. Like you can pick out so many more flaws than if you're looking at an animation that people have like poured their heart and soul into and it's stylistic.
And to bring up like The Lion King once again, like that movie is like 25 years old or whatever. And it's
flawless.
Looks incredible. And it's like, because it's a cartoon, like you can just high res those images and it looks incredible. Whereas like the realistic lion in a few years is just going to look like...
Yeah, it's going to be like, oh, we can do it better now.
Yeah.
And bring it back to what we were saying before, like Monsters, Inc. You would never have thought that was 2001 because it looks timeless. Because it's got a specific style to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, nice to bookend that.
Yeah. I also watched The Green Hornet with Seth Rogen.
Yeah, nice.
The reason I watched that is because, when I was watching Monsters, Inc., I was like, this is cool. And then I started remembering, like, I had a Green Hornet phase. When I was like 9, maybe early 10 age, I was obsessed. Watched the Seth Rogen Green Hornet film. And I guess that was my guy. Like most kids grow up and they want to be Spider-Man.
You wanted to be Green Hornet?
Wow. I haven't seen it. Wow. Is he a superhero?
No. He fucking sucks. Have you seen it?
Yeah. A long time ago. I haven't rewatched it. I got it confused. I get it confused all the time with the
Green
Drake
Mile?
Bell superhero movie.
It's called Superhero Movie. Yeah.
Where he plays like he's dressed up in a green suit.
Yeah,
like
what's he
Green
called?
Hornet. He's called like...
It's because the whole thing's a Spider-Man parody.
He's called like Bugman or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah. Anyway.
Man-Mite? Whatever. I don't remember.
Like that.
Something like
that. But Green Hornet's kind of good. Like, it's kind of a fucking banger, dude. Like, I was going into it being like, I can't believe as a kid I looked up to Seth Rogen as a superhero. And yeah, he does like kind of suck in it. Not his character's just kind of shit. He does his best. But the movie itself is like cinematically, it looks really good.
Oh, really?
And it's like, I'm watching it, I'm like, holy shit. Like, it's got the same director as the guy who directed Eternal Sunshine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Same director.
Jesus. What a thematic twist.
Yeah, wow.
And it's kind of about, and I'm watching it and I was like, oh, Green Hornet. Okay. The whole concept of the character is, if you don't know, it's like how Batman's Bruce Wayne, when he's Bruce Wayne, he's this rich guy, whatever. But Bruce Wayne pretends to be a loser, pretends to be like, he gets drunk, he parties, crashes cars, that whole thing. But he's just doing that so no one thinks he's Batman.
Yeah.
He's not actually like that. The whole concept of Green Hornet is, what if Batman was actually like that?
Okay.
What if he was broke and useless?
No, what if he was...
What if he hammered on the weekends?
What if he was a rich kid?
Ladies.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
What if he was rich? Like Bruce... What
if
Bruce
he was
Wayne is pretending to be, what if he was actually that?
A rich recluse, loser.
And the reason he wants to become a superhero is because like he's just like kind of a party animal. He's like, what do I do during the day? Because at night I party and get hammered. So like I don't want to work a normal job. Like what if I just like cut out a costume for myself and then at night while I'm hammered I can go fight people.
That's so funny.
Oh, so he gets drunk and fights people.
He kind of balances. He does like nights on and off. So he's still like a party. He doesn't learn any lessons.
Okay.
He still bangs models and is a party animal.
Okay.
Awesome.
But he's kind of like, after that, he meets up with, he has a sidekick called Kato.
Okay.
And him and his sidekick Kato go out. Let me kind of explain the fucking thing.
Okay.
I sound schizo. The idea is Seth Rogen plays, rich kid, think Bruce Wayne, but he's actually like that. His dad dies and he's kind of put on a bit of a thing where he's like, what do I do now? He takes over his dad's newspaper company. So he's like, now I run the newspaper and my dad's dead.
Okay.
His dad dies from a bee sting.
Okay.
Green Hornet.
It's like
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's like Batman.
Yeah.
Except his Bruce Wayne's parents don't die from bats.
Okay, true. I guess it's nothing like Batman.
And he meets his dad's mechanic, who's
Morgan Freeman.
He's an Asian man named Kato, and he's inspired by the original Green Hornet was a show in like the 60s, and Kato was played by Bruce Wayne. Bruce Lee.
What?
Bruce Lee.
I'm so confused.
Sorry. Bruce Wayne's not a real guy.
Okay, I'm following.
So played by
what?
played by Bruce Lee. So this is like the new remake. Like they got a guy, an Asian dude who can also do like martial arts stuff. And the whole concept is Seth Rogen's character, I think his name's Brett. Brett is a loser.
Okay.
And he fucking sucks and he can't fight. He can't do anything except he's got money in his account.
Yep.
And his sidekick Kato is a guy, like a broke mechanic dude who he hires. And Kato can build like super weapons.
Okay.
He can build cars with machine guns on it.
Awesome.
And he's like the greatest hand-to-hand combat man on earth.
Okay.
So he's like good at everything, and he also like has Riz.
Okay.
So Kato's just awesome at everything, and Seth Rogen is like, you're my sidekick. And then that's what the whole movie is about. It's their dynamic of them two going out like fighting crime. And Seth Rogen's like, yeah, I'm the Green Hornet, you're my sidekick. And Kato's like pretty humble, but after a while, towards the end of the movie, he's like, dude, I'm doing everything. I build all the cool cars. I drive the cars. I when we go out and fight people, you yell out to them, and then I run up and beat them up.
Okay.
Like, what's happening?
So is that the narrative? He like learns a lesson and like learns to give the spotlight over or something? Is that
not really. Well, he kind of just learns. He's like, they kind of break up the friendship because a girl gets in the middle as well. And Kato actually has Riz, and Cameron Diaz is the girl.
Okay.
Kato actually has Riz, and he's like working something with Cameron Diaz. And then Seth Rogen comes in and just like sexually harasses her.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
and he's just like an asshole. And then Kato's like, bro, what the hell? And they get into a thing where
Can we run back? Early when you started explaining this movie, you said verbatim, I grew up wanting to be Seth Rogen's superhero. And now you're talking about how useless he is and how he sexually harassed Cameron Diaz.
I'm joking. I never wanted. The whole point of the movie is he's a loser. He sucks.
Okay.
I wanted to be
I
Kato.
just wanted to clear that up.
I wanted to be Kato. Kato's awesome. But then, anyway, Cameron Diaz ends up hating them both and pepper spraying and beating them both up.
Oh, nice. And that's just the end.
And then then there's no, which is a very funny way to end a love interest. It's
Yeah.
she just, I think she calls both of them creeps and losers. And then beats them.
Understandably.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
such
Kato was dating her nicely. You know, they were going out. But then Seth
Rogen's trying to slide in.
And then he's like, yeah, my boy Kato said he fucked. And then she's like, you guys both suck.
That's real. Canon
Yeah.
event for most men.
Yeah.
We won't get into that. So does
is
it
that
live
the
up
end
to
of the
your childhood expectations?
Yeah, well, it's actually just a good movie, I think.
Okay.
I think it's just it's a very, like, fun, cool movie.
So you don't think there was like a cloud of nostalgia that changed your opinion on it? You think genuinely it was a good movie and you were right all along?
The only part that was...
Hasn't aged well?
Yeah, there was one part that hasn't aged well. Was the whole thing is when Kato's fighting people, he goes slow-mo and he fucks people up. And you see him, like, there's this really cool slow-mo thing where you see him highlight red spots on people. And then it like speeds up and you see him like he'll highlight
It's
someone's...
like bullet time.
Yeah, he'll like highlight someone's nuts and then another guy's face, then another guy's hand. And then
What's that
speeds
from?
up.
That's like Fallout.
Fallout,
Vats.
yeah.
Pretty much. And then he speeds up and goes...
Nice. Yeah,
Okay.
cool.
And it's cool. Anyway, the final act of the film, climax, Kato's pinned to the thing, about to get killed. Seth Rogen locks in. And he has his own little thing where he has his own vats, right? I remember as a kid being like, this is so cool. Like, Seth Rogen's a loser the entire time.
And now he's unlocked
And
Vats.
now he's locked in and he's like, cool as hell. But then it doesn't... Like, they should have got a stunt double or something because it's just Seth Rogen and it's not... It's really bad. It looks horrible.
Okay.
Because Kato can just do it naturally. Like, they got an actual martial arts guy.
Yeah.
Whereas Seth Rogen, like, get a stunt double something. Because just Seth Rogen, like,
Maybe that's some of the charm to it. Or is it
I
meant
don't-
to be that he gets it now?
No, it's portrayed in a way where, like, look how cool Seth Rogen is now.
It is not cool.
But it's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So that aged really bad. I remember the whole movie being like, man, I can't wait for that part where Seth Rogen locks in. And then he does, and it's like,
And then you
oh,
were
pathetic.
underwhelmed.
Yeah, really pathetic.
And that's the like climax of the film.
That's the climax of the film. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
But it is. I kind of like Green Hornet as a character and the way their costumes look.
Dude, you're
It's like,
very passionate about Green Hornet.
dude, Green Hornet might be cool as fuck. And
Yeah.
I found out one more thing. I'll wrap this up. I'm sorry. I was watching the movie. I was like, Green Hornet's kind of like a good fuck you to Batman because it's like I imagined Batman came out first,
Oh, for 100%.
and then the Green Hornet was like, oh, what if Bruce Wayne was actually a loser, like a rich, spoiled kid? Like, what if that's maybe what was blah, blah, blah. Like, what if Batman was like this? If Bruce Wayne was actually like this, he would be a loser. Like, you know, I looked into it. Fucking Green Hornet came out 3 years before Batman.
Well, no.
Yes.
Batman is a comic book?
Yes. Green Hornet, the comic book, started as a radio show / comic book.
It's not the movie. Sorry. Yeah.
Came out 3 years before Batman as a comic.
Whoa.
Whoa.
What year was that?
36. Batman was 39.
Holy.
Which
Jeez.
means...
And in the comics, was he like this rich loser?
Yeah, the whole character was written.
Whoa.
So so it's very possible that Batman's thing was like, oh, what if we did Green Hornet? But he's not. He's only pretending to be a loser.
That's crazy.
Batman's a satirization
Yeah.
of Green Hornet.
Yeah. So Green Hornet is the OG,
What a
dude.
crazy twist.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought. Oh no, that's Superman. I was trying to think what was the first superhero. I thought Batman was the first superhero, but
Nah.
no. And also,
Yeah.
Batman's just started kind of as a detective, less
Yeah.
as like a superhero.
And then they're like, this isn't working. Let's make him more like Green Hornet.
it's crazy.
That is a crazy twist. But exactly the reason why you're so passionate about this
Yeah.
is why I kind of wanted to do this episode, because I feel like maybe Green Hornet's not as great of
That's
a
what
movie
I'm trying
as
to
you
think. That's
and
what I
you're
think.
clouded by nostalgia. And the reason you enjoy it so much is because you enjoyed it as a kid.
I don't think so, dude. Like, you understand.
And so that's why when I was going to watch a movie,
Yeah.
I didn't watch one of my childhood movies because that's the point. I watched a movie that I talked to John about where John says he loves it.
Green Hornet.
No, I went and watched Freddy Got Fingered.
Yes, dude. You actually
Because
watched it?
John was talking about how incredible and funny Freddy Got Fingered is, and he thinks it's misunderstood.
I think it's, like, can I just say real quick? It's hilarious. And it's genius.
Yep.
And it's maybe one of the funniest movies ever made.
And that's why I wanted to go back and revisit without any nostalgia, without any knowledge.
Yeah.
And that movie is very hard to watch. I don't know if, Jock, are you aware of Freddy Got Fingered?
I have no clue what
Freddy Got
is.
Fingered.
So funny.
Freddy Got Fingered is very tough to watch because the idea is that the protagonist is like, he's a very Step Brothers character where he's like
Sure.
a guy who still lives with his parents and is kind of a loser, doesn't have a
Deadbeat.
real job. Yeah. And there's a lot of the zany randomness of like Step Brothers type thing, but none of it's justifiable or has any relevance or any it's not even funny. Like
Funny.
there's a lot of animal cocks.
What?
There's a scene where he's on the way to Hollywood to sell his animations because he wants to be an animator.
Okay.
And he pulls over because he sees a horse with a massive cock. He pulls over
For no reason, by the way.
for no reason, gets out of his car, jumps the fence, runs in and starts jacking off the horse. And he's like, "Look at me, Dad, I'm a farmer. And then he just gets back in his car, drives off unaddressed, and it has no
The
narrative.
funniest movie of all time.
Has no narrative purpose at all.
John, Jackson, your job of not selling me this movie is failing.
Dude, it's the perfect. Can I just name a few scenes I love?
Of course.
One part, he's skateboarding with his friend. They're like 30-year-old men.
Yeah.
And his friend's in a suit, I think, and they're skateboarding for some reason at a half pipe.
This is
His
after
friend-
he builds a ramp in his garage.
Yeah,
Awesome.
His friend breaks his leg, and he's screaming in pain, and it's disturbing because the bone's hanging out of his leg.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my god, like horrible accident for no reason. The main character, what's the main character's name? I forgot.
Gord.
Gord.
God, who's
The ma-
Freddy?
His little brother.
let me get to that.
Oh, sorry.
His little brother. Gord goes over to his friend and starts licking the bone that's sticking out of his friend's leg for no reason.
It's incredibly hard to watch. It's awful and disgusting.
Dude, what about the baby?
Yeah, so I'm going to explain the baby scene, okay?
This is a crazy dichotomy of responses to this
So
movie.
there's this... What was weird about this movie is it feels like a movie I would enjoy because there's random zany scenes that out of context you explain to someone and it's like, this is so funny, you got to watch it. Watching them is extremely hard to watch. So the scene that John's referring to is he's visiting his friend who's just broken his leg on the half pipe. He's visiting him in hospital. And next to his friend is a pregnant woman in bed, right? And she's like, "You have to call a doctor. I'm giving birth right now." And he goes, "Don't worry, I'm a doctor." And he puts the coat on and she's yelling, "No, get away from me. Get away from me." And he's like, "Spread your legs." And he pushes her legs open and she's screaming at him to stop. And he reaches into her and pulls her baby out, right? And she's screaming the entire time. No one is enjoying it. And then he pulls the baby out, big umbilical cord, right? And he's like, time to cut the umbilical cord. He bites the umbilical cord to cut the baby out, starts swinging it like a lasso around, spraying blood all over the screaming pregnant woman and all over everyone else in the hospital. And then it closes with like, she catches the baby and it's a somber, sweet moment where and he's like, "I saved the day." And there's no repercussion.
fuck.
There's no resolution. He's like, I saved the day. I'm a
Perfect
hero.
movie, dude.
And it's so hard to watch because she is
Holy
begging.
shit.
She is begging him to get away from her,
That's horrifying.
and the entire thing's played as a joke.
When was this made?
2002.
I don't remember what time.
It's between 2000 and 2002.
Jesus
Holy, it is incredibly hard to watch.
That's a horrifying, like, put different music on that scene and it is the most horrific, like,
Yeah.
rape scene of all time.
It's
Yeah.
awful. It's
That's
like
horrifying.
Well, can I just quickly say what I find funny about and just like so I don't like lose everything? Can I just say what I find hilarious is this movie at face value isn't funny. What makes it fucking hilarious is what happened with this movie was Tom Green at the time was a very famous kind of like he was known for being very gross, silly, like he was like what like he was the Eminem era.
Sure.
Same time Eminem
Yeah.
was coming up, he was like that.
Counterculture comedian.
But he was doing that in the comedy scene where he was just being gross, silly, and it was one of those things where with this movie, it was they just gave they're like, oh, the kids like this guy. Let's give him a few $1 million to make a movie, and he knew he's like I don't want to fucking make a movie. Like he was just making shit like for the internet and stuff. But he's like, oh, these old studio guys just gave me money to make a Hollywood movie. So I'm going to make one, and nothing makes sense in the movie.
Okay, that's
like,
kind of based.
That's why I like it, because it's like, this movie is disgusting and horrible, and it's called Freddy Got Fingered, and it's the worst thing. It's a piece of shit.
yeah, it's
But
awful.
it's very much like a...
Okay, that's
You-
kind of
you
in
do-
context. It's kind
Yeah.
of awesome.
That's why I look at it and I die laughing, because it's like these studio heads just gave him money and were like, oh, this is the new funny guy that everyone loves. Let's see what he makes and we'll watch it. I was picturing them sitting and watching it.
Yeah,
Towards the end of the movie, there's one of the characters holds up a big sign that says, "When will this film fucking end?"
yeah.
Yeah.
And but
that's got some charm to it. But
Yeah.
there's also like you go back to the point of like how much of it is a joke and like how much of it is ironic
Yeah.
that you're still doing it. Like you can be all ironic, like how shit is this? This is so we're being so edgy and like we're laughing at the people that would find this funny and laughing
Yeah.
at the people that made this. But you are the people that are making
Yeah.
it. You
Yeah.
are the people that find it funny. Like there's a line of irony that you become the person you're trying to joke about.
And that's the problem is I think that like knowing, because I then looked that up, like because I was like, why does this movie suck so much? And it's like, oh yeah, he made it intentionally bad, which I understand the bits of being extremely sexually ridiculous, like the bit where he stands on top of the sandwich conveyor belt with the salami in his pants and he's slapping all the workers in the face. Like, it's like, I get that that's ridiculous, funny, whatever. It's kind of sexual abuse, but whatever. Sexual harassment. But then there's bits where like
Cut that. No, I didn't mean it like that.
like
I didn't mean
part
like
of the crux of the narrative is when he hates his dad so much, so he wrongfully accuses him of fingering his brother as a child, and that's so his dad gets in trouble,
Yeah.
and that's like a win. That's why the movie's called Freddy Got Fingered, is because he's like, win, I accused my dad of assaulting my brother.
Yeah, win out in the childcare system.
And it's like there's the bits that are ridiculous and out there and gross and funny or whatever. Funny in air quotations. Like when he
Yeah.
jacks off the elephant and it sprays
His
cum
dad.
on his dad for like like 60 seconds. 60 seconds of spraying white on the dad. That's, I get.
Dude, if I watched this in like 2010, this would be the best movie of all time.
And that's what I
see
mean,
where John's coming
Is
from.
I understand that being funny in a gross way and outlandish and zany and ridiculous, kind of in a Super Troopers way, where Super Troopers
Yeah.
just does random stuff to be funny.
But I think it does it tastefully.
And also, like, then narratively, it kind of comes back around and
It's
makes
also not
sense.
like Tropic Thunder as well. Like Tropic Thunder is a movie that is a product of its time,
Definitely a
but
lot
it's
better movie.
still really enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it plays on that whole we're going to make a shit movie that's unwatchable, that's impossible to like be entertained by, but we're going to make it entertaining. We're going to show how we're going to make a parody of films, but it's
Yeah.
like better done than something that's like we're going to jack off a horse and let it come on someone's face for a minute flat.
It's, yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah. That's why I think it has a bit of charm, because it's so lazy. It's so lazy with what it's doing. Like you look at Tropic Thunder, I think that's a great comparison, because
I'm just saying this is my example of nostalgia clouding the.
well, it's a shit movie, yeah, but I think it has like you look at Tropic Thunder, that's a good example of something like Robert Downey Jr. doing blackface.
yeah.
It's not just Robert Downey Jr. doing blackface. He's playing an actor called Kirk Lazarus, who's
Yeah.
an Aussie bad boy,
Method actor.
a method actor who thinks it's fine for him to do blackface.
Yeah.
That's-
It's a satirical on satire, sort of. It gets away with it because it's like,
It's a deeper level. Whereas with Freddy Got Fingered, it's just like, what if we just jacked off an elephant? And instead of being like, how do we get to that point and make it funny? It's like, what if the main character just pulls over and starts jacking
But doesn't that like discredit it a bit?
Well, that's
Like
the thing.
it could have done it in a better way. It could have done it in a smart way.
That's the thing. It's a bad movie,
Okay, you just love it.
but it's hilarious.
Okay.
It's in like, it's a horribly made movie, but you'll cry laughing watching it.
Jackson?
I wasn't laughing.
At all.
I was like
At all.
struggling to watch it. There were bits. Hold on, I wrote down something that I think could be funny. Let me pull my notes out real quick.
You wrote down a different movie.
Dude, but like,
No, yeah. So there's bits that like I thought I understand where they're going here. They just didn't do it right. So there's a bit where he is talking to his girlfriend about how they haven't even been out on one date yet, and she's already sucked him off 2 times. Right? And they make a joke that's like a suck to date ratio. Which is like an X-rated Seinfeld bit.
Yeah,
he's like, we've got to go out on one more date because then the suck to date ratio would be better. But now we're at 200% suck and 0 date, and that's kind of
That's a
funny
good
and
bit.
clever.
Yeah, I
like
like
that's an
that.
X-rated Seinfeld bit. Is just being like, what's the deal with the suck to date ratio?
I love when Jerry says that.
Yeah, like that.
Favorite Seinfeld episode.
And that's the thing that I think even made it worse, because it's like there's funny, interesting, clever points he's trying to make, right? There's ways to do it in a way that is gross and X-rated, but then it's just like, then it'll be the most difficult to watch, horrendous scene where his dad's yelling at him and he's like, yeah, he says some things I'm not going to repeat about his girlfriend.
Yeah, maybe don't, guys. Let's not endorse watching that movie. But
Yeah.
It's free with ads on
I've got
YouTube.
one more note I'll say.
yeah, just quick.
Yeah, make it quick. Sorry, I wanted to compare it to really quickly something we've talked about on the podcast before. I think the Louis C.K. Ricky Gervais thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, about if something's funny and you laugh, then it's funny.
it's funny. It doesn't mean it's good. Like it doesn't like for me.
You don't have to be a comedian to be funny as long as someone's laughing.
Yeah, for me, the movie sucks. It's offensive. It's aged bad. It's I don't think they had ill intentions, but they definitely like do some stuff that's like crossing a line. That's like they're making fun of some sensitive topics that crosses a line. I don't think
moral justification.
Yeah, and I don't think they were trying to be like evil, but they were just like,
It was a
what if
different time as well.
It was a different time, and they were just like, what if we just do the craziest shit in a movie? But so yeah, it's bad, and I wouldn't recommend it, but I cry laughing watching it. And when I just even thinking about some of the moments of the film before, I was crying laughing. Just thinking about what happens in the movie is so funny.
Yeah. And I think that I want to bring it around to like the nostalgia effect of that. It made me think about South Park, because as a kid, you're not supposed to watch South Park or whatever,
Yeah.
but I think everyone did. And I think that's
I was a good boy.
I think that's the target demographic for South Park, is kids that aren't supposed to be watching it,
Oh, for sure.
sneakily watching
Yeah.
it. Because I remember as a child looking up on YouTube like full episodes of South Park, and the bits that I saw, I was like, this is so funny.
Yeah.
And then like as an adult, I've tried watching South Park,
you
and I'm
can't.
like, this show is not funny. It's like ridiculous, and then they'll just do something out of pocket for no reason.
Yeah.
But if I watch one or two of the episodes that I watched when I was a child, I'm like, either I was watching just the best episodes, or like I'm looking at this with a memory of a better time, and I'm enjoying it because I know I know the jokes, and I felt the jokes at a different point in my life. And like that's how I feel like John is responding to
He's
Freddy
not
Got
remembering
Fingered.
the movie. He's remembering the time of his life when he watched the movie.
Yeah, he's at least eliciting the same emotional reaction he might have had at that time, and his memory of that emotional reaction is exactly how he had.
So this leads into a bit of what I ended up deep diving. I read some scientific papers about nostalgia. I've got my notes here, actually.
Ooh.
So I read 3 scientific papers. The first one I read, let me get it up, sorry. I read a paper called Nostalgia Across Cultures. It was in the Journal of Pacific Rim Psychology,
Pacific Rim.
published. Yeah, I had to look it up. I'm like, is this like the movie? From 2022. So it goes into a bit about like the origins of even the idea of nostalgia.
Yeah.
So the first literary reference of nostalgia comes from Homer's Odyssey in 800 BC.
Really?
And it was when, I don't know if you've read it or you know the story at all. Christopher Nolan's making a movie, so you guys will know it eventually.
Yeah,
No
I've always
spoilers.
intended to read it, but
I don't want to spoil the film.
It's hard to read, but like, because it's like oldie English, but it is a good book. There's a moment where Odysseus has been stuck on this island with this like nymph named Calypso.
Wait, sorry. Is that Tom Holland?
No, and
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. All right.
Stuck on an island with Zendaya.
Okay.
To put you in context of
Yeah,
the Nolan film.
Yeah.
And he's been there
like
for
that.
10 years away from his home. And Homer writing it introduces this idea of nostalgia, which is him reminiscing his life back home, which is the driving force for him to leave this island and go back home. Because this island with Zendaya she's promising him immortality, and she's like a goddess of like fertility or something.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, goddess of Spider-Woman.
Spider-Man.
And the term for nostalgia is a Greek term, comes from the words nostos, which means to return to one's native land, and algos, pain or suffering, which is an interesting point
Very
because
interesting.
nostalgia has changed its definition throughout history. So originally in the Odyssey, it was talked about as like this longing for a past you no longer have.
Wow.
Then it morphed into, it became a negative connotation. To have nostalgia was like, I feel sad that I'm living in this present that is not the past. And then more recently, up until like the late 1900s, it was still that like negative connotation until it's kind of morphed back into like the homoerotic origin of it, which is like a positive connotation with the past.
Yeah.
And it divorced its definition from homesickness. Like homesickness is kind of what nostalgia used to mean.
Yeah.
But now it's turned into that.
Yeah.
And then I read another paper about how nostalgia is different between like Western and Eastern cultures. It just said it was the same.
Oh, really? Okay.
Riveting paper, that one.
Yeah, skip that one.
And then like I went into one that was specifically talking about how in like the 70s and 80s there was like a drive to want to go back to the 50s.
Right.
And how that sort of feeling in the 70s and 80s of all this American media being like, let's go back to the 50s.
Yeah.
And now in the 2020s, we're all like, let's go back to the noughts or the 90s.
Yeah.
There's an idea now that back in the past, that sort of romanticization of like the 50s and the 70s and 80s was unachievable. You're romanticizing an unachievable past.
Yeah.
But now, because everything is digitized and everything is way more accessible, we can actually relive those sort of periods of time, which like has created this crazy cycle of nostalgia, which is like condensing the periods that nostalgia is being affected. Like it used to be you were nostalgic for something like 15, 20 years ago in your past.
Yeah.
People are like seeing on TikTok people getting nostalgic off like Fortnite season 1.
Yeah.
Like, brother, that was like 7 years ago. Like,
Yeah,
what is
crazy.
happening?
Yeah.
With such digitization and such accessibility to the recent past, nostalgia is becoming this really like overused and like extremely, abused system of an emotional response. Because it is a scientifically emotional response that you're having to a past.
Yeah.
It's kind of likened to the idea, like people theorize that the reason we feel nostalgia is because back when we were like cavemen or whatever, and we were going through a really hard time, nostalgia was an emotion that we were instilled to kind of encourage us to keep going forwards, that we can go back to what it was before. It can be better again.
Yeah.
But now it feels like in modern day with like film and TV, especially recently, nostalgia is being milked like a fucking drug. Like you go to the cinema and every movie is like a nostalgic rip of the past. Like Lilo and Stitch, people are like, oh, I loved that movie when I was a kid. Nostalgic pull.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible, that's the series that's been going on for 25 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Nostalgic pull. Like everything has like a nostalgic lens to it that is kind of a weird commercialization of just a human emotion.
It's weird. Yeah.
It is like a dopamine hit. Like
Yeah, it is.
It's not the same as like doing drugs, but it's like this is a way that I can elicit in my brain positive response.
Yeah, so we do like, is it ethical for these sort of, like, I guess it's weird because films could be doing this subconsciously. They're not, but they could be doing this subconsciously where they're like, they liken back to films of the past where it's like influenced by things from previous eras, or they're just doing what they do now, which is like directly rip previous movies. Is that like an ethical abuse of our emotions?
Yeah, well, it's weird because then also is it just the director making the movie, like he's like, I liked this movie, I'm going to make something like that because I like it. Like it's on, like you think about it, it's like no brainer. Obviously it's not abusive of that, making something that people like.
Yeah.
Obviously it's not. But then it's weird when you start to break it down and think, well, actually if you're like doing that mental programming to actually elicit that response, there's like a weird almost gray area, very very light gray.
It's like human engineering. It's instead of making something that people want to watch because of its quality, you're making things people want to watch because they associate it with something from a better time in their life.
Yeah.
It's like a human engineering to get people to watch movies.
Yeah.
So I went on a real like deep dive with that. Anyway, that's what I ended up doing. I read scientific papers.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it does make me wonder because you said that there's almost like two types of nostalgia. There's a direct pull where it's like here's Michael Jordan from Space Jam.
Yeah.
And it's actually grabbing a character and pulling them. Or there is like a more organic way
referential
where
nostalgia.
where you're making a film where you're making something that's just, it's like, oh, this is sweet. This reminds me of the old movies I used to watch. Like an example I have is what you doing, bro?
I lost my page.
Example I have of a recent film is Alien Romulus. Again, look, it is an alien film, whatever, but it is an original. It's just set in that universe. It's all new characters and stuff. I think that's a good example of a more organic way to do it, where the crew, like the main characters in Alien Romulus, is like a group of like young. It's like all fresh faced new actors. No one really super famous, but people who've done like newer stuff. They just grabbed like a bunch of new actors. They're new characters. They're not characters who are like, oh, this isn't what's her face's daughter from the first one. It's just like new.
It's a whole new band. It's a different story in the same world.
Yeah, it's a whole new band of people. And when you watch it, I watched it and felt nostalgic because it was like, oh, this group of young adults on this spaceship on this adventure remind me of like the original Star Wars movies, where it's like Han Solo, Luke, Leia.
Yeah,
and it's like done in a way where it's like, oh, this actually feels sweet. Like they just made a good movie, and it reminded me of the past in a way where it's like, oh, this is like when movies were good.
One interesting thing about nostalgia I read, where like it's kind of a different. It's weird. It's the most common trigger and the most like potent trigger for nostalgia is actually scent.
I was going to say
the things you smell are way more elicit that nostalgic response. Not that that's related to the film. I just thought that was interesting.
I was going to say, when you mentioned the digital thing, like how do you recreate? Did you spray smells?
Like, you're going to walk past a movie poster and you're like, fuck, that smells like my grandma. Holy shit.
Yeah. I guess, it's that maybe because we're always overstimulated with the looks of stuff, with the sounds of stuff, like maybe that's why the smell is so potent, because like we're always seeing nostalgia bait. We're always hearing songs that we've heard before. Yeah. But it's not very often that
I'd be interested if it was like that potency of scent is because it's been saturated, like the other forms have been saturated, or it's always been more potent in scent because that was a more important sense to like you needed to put more effort into remembering scents. Like let's say you're a hunter-gatherer, you find this berry that looks exactly the same as another berry, but it smells different. Do you need to like have that nostalgic response to remember the scent to know it's good berry or bad berry? Like, I don't know. I'm not a hunter-gatherer. I'm a fucking hunter.
Podcaster. Hunter-gatherer podcaster.
Yeah, that's the three. Yeah, they're caveman podcast.
Yeah.
They're in the cave chatting about shit. Do you think they were entertained? Oh, actually, no, there's definitely not. I was going to say, well, there's entertainers in the caveman past. They were definitely storytellers.
I don't think entertain could be your job. I think
back in...
You just like the hunt.
In caveman day, it's like everyone pulls their weight, or I'm going to club you over the head and we're going to eat
But then I think as you get to the point of like an elder, if you're an elder of a tribe, you are the chieftain storyteller.
You were 30 years old.
You're not like going out and hunting. You're sitting around the campfire, orally telling the stories of your tribe to the next generation. That's your job. You're entertaining.
Yeah.
I feel like there's always been human nature is to tell stories and to like... That's why we're so successful as a species, is because we tell stories, we have empathy, and we can relay things to the next generation, so we get smarter every generation.
Allegedly.
So it's like I think there's value to being an entertainer.
Yeah, I guess at the time there
completely
wasn't.
I'm sorry. Where are we?
Where are we? Jock House.
Yeah, nostalgia. I think it's an interesting nostalgia baiting and like abusing nostalgia because it just doesn't feel very earned anymore.
No, it's just a full come here.
It doesn't feel like I'm not watching things and like getting inherently nostalgia for a time that I like. I'm just looking. Everything I get nostalgic by is just because I was a child. It's just because life was easier.
Yeah.
Like nothing about the stuff I watched as a child was inherently more enjoyable.
Yeah.
I think just thinking back, I was in a state of mind to enjoy things more. Like when I was a child, I'm not watching a movie going like, oh, that was a Dutch angle.
Yeah,
It's like, I wonder how much money they spent on marketing this movie. You know, as a child, I'm like, holy shit, that's a lightsaber.
How cool is that?
How cool is that? And now
Yeah,
looking back is like, I'm nostalgic for that time where I could appreciate media with such a like a jaded, like whatever.
Yeah.
Not jaded, the opposite of jaded. Such a naive, like clear lens.
Yeah.
A rose-colored lens.
Ooh.
Did you have something to say, John?
Not really. Nah. I don't think. Yeah, I think it's a good point. Like I was thinking about when I get nostalgic, a lot of it's scent or like a certain. I don't know, because shit's just like looks and stuff. It doesn't really do a lot of the time. Like sometimes I'll go to like my old neighborhood that like visit like someone, you know.
You smell a scent or something.
And I smell a scent that's familiar, but or even in the opposite way, where like I drive past, like I'll be driving and I'll be like, oh, this is my old playground, dude. Like I can't wait. Drive past, it's like, oh, it's just all grey now. It's like they painted it all grey.
Yeah, it's depressing.
So it's like, okay, like there's zero nostalgia there.
Wow,
It's just
okay.
like-
Losing nostalgia.
Yeah, just like I can't wait for this nostalgia. When I drive past and it's like, oh,
Like taking a drug of nostalgia, tying the
I'm
like
not
the
feeling
belt
it.
around your arm, pulling it tight, injecting. Oh fuck yeah! Pokemon,
I'm not feeling it.
The early Indigo League Pokemon. Oh yeah, fuck.
There's somewhere that we drive past that smells bad.
The dump.
No,
Oh,
me
the-
and John all the time we drive past
on
it.
the expressway, there's a neighborhood that smells like shit.
Yeah. And sometimes I'm like, I like this.
Oh yeah, Jackson loves the smell of shit,
What
by the
the
way.
fuck?
Which is like,
He's nostalgic for when he grew up in poo. You remember how
Yeah, like I used to shit my pants all the time.
true. Is that nostalgic, you think?
No, I did used to shit my pants.
No, fuck all the. But was there a
No jokes. Serious.
Very serious. Did you smell poo a lot as a child?
Did you grow up in a poopy household? Was everyone in your house just pooping all the
I
time?
don't think so. It's
No.
not that I enjoy the smell. I think I've made the joke to you before where it's like there's a period of time where you can smell it, right? And then once you drive past it, you stop smelling it.
And he longs to smell it again.
well,
Oh, I remember the point you made. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
He reverses back. He drives through it again. Oh, yes. Another hit. Fuck yes.
Hold on,
Yeah.
make your point. Make your point.
Sorry.
you can make it if you want.
Jackson's point was like when we leave the shit smelling neighborhood and it smells fucking normal again, thank God. Jackson goes, oh, at least I was feeling something.
Is it better to have smelt into loss than to have never smelt at all? You know?
Which is just a horrifying thought that he's smelling pure shit.
Well, you've got to be grateful for everything in life, and that's something you're given in life that is the smell of shit. You have to be
Yeah.
grateful
It's
for
like
it.
when you're working really hard and it's really busy and you're like, man, I've got so much on, I can't wait till I've got nothing on. And then everything finishes.
Wow, I'm overwhelmed by this stench of shit. I can't wait till I can smell anything else.
That's what I think. And then when I smell anything else, I go, yes, thank God.
I don't
Life
know.
is redeemed. I'm ready. I'm back in the Holy Land.
There's
Yeah.
some sort of je ne sais quoi about the smell of
Ah, fuck.
shit. Yeah.
Well, because I agree with you because you said you like the smell of cigarettes as well.
Yeah, I hate cigarettes as a concept. I
Yeah.
hate smoking cigarettes. It's like actively killing you. But I do enjoy the smell and I think they look sick.
See, I'm the same. I think they smell nice.
Scratch every. I only think they're good for you, and they're not killing you. They smell gross and they look weird.
Factually speaking, you're killing yourself smoking a cigarette.
Yes.
But I understand it looks cool and it smells
You're a nerd
nice.
if you don't smoke cigarettes and
Oh.
vape and do zins all at the same time.
Zins, especially.
And butt chug.
I'm a nerd. I don't do any of those things. Maybe the butt jug. Anyway, what were you saying?
Yeah, I like the smell of cigarettes.
Have you guys ever smoked not drunk?
Never smoked ever.
Oh, really? Loser? John?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I know. Yeah, I was gonna say. I've only
There
smoked
was-
cigarettes drunk.
Really? Yeah. It was
They don't
only
count.
it was only one. I had a week. I had a bad week. It
Put
was
yourself a back and went crazy.
no. I was editing for uni.
Just
Okay.
shopping darts.
Yeah, and I was on campus. And I kept freaking out, and I kept going in my car and smoking cigarettes
Oh my god.
Far
You
out.
got addicted to nicotine
for a week. Yeah, and then
How'd you cut off?
I was like, I'm gonna stop smoking cigarettes now.
And you just stopped?
Yeah.
Wow.
The whole
Wow.
idea that it's addictive, wrong. I just was just like, how about I stop doing this?
I think I could convince myself to break an addiction if I just convinced myself I was cringe for doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like if I just
true.
went, I'm just such a loser for doing this.
I see addiction to cigarettes as like a, you know, the big.
This is a weird. I feel like okay.
You know
Preface this with addiction to cigarettes is a really dangerous and real. If you're addicted to cigarettes, get help. Look for things that are going to help you break that habit. It's really bad.
Allegedly.
And back to Jackson. What
Can I
Jackson
make
was
my
saying.
point?
Yeah.
You know when you're at the casino and there's the big spin wheel,
Yeah.
and you spin the wheel around, right?
Yeah.
That's how I picture it when they say like you can get addicted to from just one cigarette. You can get addicted. To me, I think every time you smoke a cigarette, you spin the wheel. And
Spin
like,
the addiction wheel.
yeah, like you might get addicted off one,
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
but
Depends how like nostalgic you are for this cigarette.
exactly. And it's funny because talking about nostalgia, maybe the reason I like the smell of cigarettes is
Was your dad a
because
smoker?
no,
Okay.
we're very anti. I can't express enough how anti-smoking I am.
But he loves it.
I made this point to some friends the other week, and it surprised them. I hope they're listening. I'm talking about you. You know who you are.
Peter. I don't know. Just threw one out.
My friend's mom. I used to like my best friend growing up. His mom would take us to places and stuff, in the car, and she smoked cigarettes and ate spearmint chewy mints.
Dude, what a potent smell that.
Yeah,
car would
well,
have.
that's what
It evens out.
I have.
Smells of nothing.
I have vivid memory of being going to the museum and then getting in her car and it's the smell of cigarettes and spearmint chewing gum. And I don't know if maybe that's why I enjoy the smell of cigarette, because it's like, oh, I'm hanging out
Gone
with
to the
my
museum.
friend. Yeah, well, maybe I have vivid memory of that moment where we went to the museum and she offered me a chewy, and I was at the age where my parents were they ate chewies, but they wouldn't let me have a chewy, and I was like, yes.
Did you ever get to the point where you had to force yourself to like mints?
I still don't like them. That's the thing. I'm
Oh,
to
really?
that point.
I love
yeah.
mints.
I vividly remember there was a day, maybe the lowest point in my coolness ever.
Mm.
I was sitting
now?
at my mum's computer with a packet of chewies next to me
Pretty cool so far.
and watching a Minecraft parody
Awesome.
video.
Yep.
And I said to my mum, because she was leaving and she's like,
Was
what
this
the
yesterday?
fuck are you doing? This was yesterday. And I said, I'm going to memorize every word to this song and perform it when you get back. And then she left for
That's
half an
sick.
hour. And for half an hour, I played this Minecraft parody on repeat while forcing myself to like the taste of mints by just eating tons of chewies and then
Wow.
spitting them out because I didn't like it. And then I would go back again.
That's awesome.
And I was remembering the lyrics to this song. If I can, okay, it was a Minecraft parody where he wakes up on a beach. And something about diamonds, I think.
Okay, good. That's a good chance.
Yeah.
Good
If anyone knows a
Diamonds,
Minecraft parody where
crafting.
you wake up on a beach.
Wait, can you explain? Is it a guy with a green screen human being, or is
Nah,
it an
Minecraft
animated
character.
Okay.
Yeah, wakes up on a beach.
You could make it up right now.
I throw my hands up in the air sometimes, saying ayo,
Creepers
KO.
KO.
I didn't know the words. Could you
Creepers
save me there?
KO.
Yeah, true.
Um,
I don't think you made that up. I think you copied that from.
No, we made that up. We made
Wait.
that up. No, we made that up.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's what I'm most nostalgic for.
Minecraft.
Minecraft.
Yeah,
It was
Minecraft's fucking
it was
cool, huh?
such a formative period in my life,
Minecraft
for
changed
better
everything.
and for worse. But it was a lovely. I just remember it so fondly.
Yeah, I was an athletic kid before Minecraft came out.
That's crazy.
It's very. That's crazy.
Yeah. You're fucking disgusting.
I was the opposite.
Yeah, no, I was.
I played Minecraft and then I went and got jacked.
Yeah. Now, as a kid, there's photos of me. I don't know what the context was, but there's photos of me as a kid wearing a tank top, and I was jacked as a child. Because I started playing footy very young as well.
Yeah.
Then there was a brief period where I found Minecraft and I was still playing sport. And then there was a very slow decline, and then there was a very clear, okay, he's stopped playing sport now, and he's just playing Minecraft.
If I stop playing sport, I have more time to play Minecraft.
Dude, I think if I had grown
And I
up
had a lot less friends at school after that.
canon, if I was born in 2015,
I'll be the Rizzler.
I would be the worst child ever.
Yeah.
I would be so Fortnite pilled. I would be I would have no social skills because I would have grown up on TikTok. I would
Yeah.
be the worst child you could possibly have. I think I was my parents. You talk about how much of a little shit I was as a child. You're lucky I didn't have the internet. I would be fucking
lucky.
dropping Rizzler quotes. I would be skibbity
Already is.
toileting on your face. You're lucky.
Yeah.
They're not watching. but just thought I'd put that out in the universe.
That's my last point I was going to bring up. Fortnite, I replayed the other day. I haven't played in a long time.
Was this part of the nostalgia homework?
Yes.
I saw that you were online playing Fortnite.
Yeah, that wasn't part of that, but then it became part of that. I was playing Fortnite for fun, and I'd gotten the game, and I was like, dude, this is me not even joking. Because I'm not, I played Fortnite when it first came out, but I don't have any nostalgia. It was just alright.
Yeah.
Fortnite might be the best game ever made.
It's kind of insane,
Like,
the scope of the game.
It's so dystopian, I feel.
No, because
I'm not with
I
it.
think we've hit a point where it's, at first it was like, brands started taking over. It's like, why is there brands? Why can I be fucking Travis Scott in Fortnite?
Yeah.
But then it's hit a point now
Where
where
you
it's
could
like,
be anything.
you can be literally anything to the point. It's so sick. Like, imagine, thank God I wasn't a kid, because I would have
spent millions.
I would have never left my room, because to have the thought of like, okay, I can play like a Call of Duty like game, a shooter game. I can play with my cousins, and the three of us can have like
I can be
skins.
Sabrina Carpenter.
No, we can have the skins of like who we are autistically fixated on.
Yeah, true.
Like, I can be Indiana Jones. My cousin can be like,
is Indiana Jones in Fortnite?
yeah, my cousin can be Luke Skywalker, and my other cousin can be Goku. And we're all like, these are our favorite fictional characters that we're obsessed
It is
with.
insane. They've got everyone.
Yeah, and you can just
is,
run.
yeah.
You can like run around a sandbox as your
Did you
guy.
mess around with the Darth Vader AI?
No, I was trying to find. I couldn't find him.
Oh,
Then he killed me. Then I was like trying to
he
find
called
him.
you and called you a slur.
Then he fucking killed me. I want to find him though. That's awesome.
Have you
We
seen?
should.
Sorry,
No, you go.
I was gonna say, have you seen the clips of Darth Vader AI?
Yeah,
I've
that's so
seen,
good.
I've seen a couple. Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. For everyone out there, just search Darth Vader AI or don't, whatever.
Yeah,
live
okay.
live in the happy place where it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
We should end the episode and go play Fortnite right now.
All right, we'll do that.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Let us know in the comments what your nostalgic
Fortnite
for,
skin.
or your favorite Fortnite skin, maybe that too.
And your favorite book from Homer.
Simpson.
Yeah.
I like
the-
what does he write?
Your favorite Homeratic epic.
It's that one bit where he's like, I have 3 kids and no money. I wish I had no kids and 3 money.
Fucking bars. Holy
That's
shit.
so real.
True. Thanks for listening,
Anyway,
everyone.
thanks for listening,
Bye.
guys.
Bye.
Bye,
Peace
bye,
out.
bye.
Have you guys played like Fortnite recently? Like